you Googled yourself, not just Googling yourself, but have you Googled yourself in incognito mode? Because I recently did, and I was very pleased to find that one of the first things that popped up was actually my website. The second thing was my YouTube, the third thing was my Instagram, and the fourth thing was my Amazon, which I'm kind of surprised about because I don't really have much going on Amazon, but nevertheless, all good things. And it took me a long time to be able to do that. And the point of this video, what I'm excited to talk about with you today, is kind of talking about how to take the years of stuff that I know about and put it in an X minute video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I want it to be all about how to make your website a little more prominent, how to make it stickier, and more importantly, how to turn visitors into clients. So let's get into it. So in my opinion, your website has two jobs. The first is to introduce yourself, and the second is to build trust while doing that. Lauren, homegirl, how do we do that? I've broken this down into 4 different sections, and I'm going to kind of do a run through of them right now. The first one is positioning. What do you do? Who do you do it for? The second is value. What is the biggest outcome that people can expect? The third is proof. Does it even work? And the fourth is navigation. Everything sounds great. How do I get started? Now, I think positioning is probably my favorite because it should answer the question, what do you do? How do you do it? And who do you serve? And I recently made a video on this. I don't know what my upload schedule is, but I'm pretty sure I posted it before this one. I made a video exactly about just positioning, and not just positioning, but also how to price yourself given your positioning. So this video is going to be more of an overview, but later on, if after watching this, if you want to check that one out, please feel free to do so. But in my opinion, really the key here is to use problem-focused language. Why? Well, because people don't know what solution they need. They just know that they have a problem. They are an expert in their pain points, but they don't know what solutions address those pain points. That's where you come in, and that's why using that kind of problem-focused language can be so impactful and can be so sticky. Couple quick examples. I'm a graphic designer who specializes in Adobe and Acrobat, versus I create branded visuals that turn viewers into buyers. I'm a photographer. Versus, I create photos that make people want to stop scrolling and take action. Yeah, those are all awesome things that we want. They show action. It shows that it's something that's aspirational. It kind of leans into that thing that you're wanting, but you don't have. And what are the things people want? It usually falls into one or some of the following categories: health, wealth, time, or relationships. I know that you're oriented in one of those buckets, maybe a couple of them. So think about what are some of their biggest pain points. They don't have enough time. They don't have enough money. They don't know enough people or have the right relationships or know, there's all kinds of things. So those are generally the 4 buckets that their pain points are going to rest in. And I want you to kind of take that information and think about really quick, kind of briefly reflect before I get into it a little bit further. How are you currently positioning yourself within those buckets? What kind of language are you using? What kind of vocabulary are you using? What kind of tone are you using? All of that stuff is really going to be instrumental in helping you to kind of position your problem-focused value, I guess, if that's what we want to call it. And I think that makes sense. So think about, what do you currently do that eases the pain, makes the investment worth it, does ideally both, and break that down just a little bit more. So think about, what is the average transformation or outcome that you typically deliver? Is it time? Is it money? Is it, those 4 different buckets? What are the things that you currently deliver on? Secondly, what is that worth to your clientele? What are they saving in time? What are they saving in money? What are they saving, in not doing or doing the right thing? Think about, what are they getting out of it? Based on that problem, what's kind of like the flip side of that? I am not getting enough clients. Why do you want more clients? Because I want more money. Boom. Very simplified version, but it's there. And also, thirdly, think about, are you charging 10 to 20% of that? That might seem like a really arbitrary number, but I pulled it from Alex Hermosi. I recently saw a short of his. I'll leave it in the description if you want to check it out. But it was really informative. I really liked it. And he says it's generally a good rule of thumb to charge about 10 to 20% of that value. What is that value? It's that thing that is worth it to your clients, the money that they're saving, the time that they're saving, whatever it is. Whatever amount of money they're saving or what it's worth to them, you want to charge about 10 to 20% of that. You can do 15 if you want to kind of play the middle ground. And does that align with both your ideal client and your business model? That's a really great way to make something super valuable and to kind of create demand around it, because you're using that problem-focused language and simultaneously offering something that is worth their time, their money, their attention, their investment, whatever, but no one's gonna see it or believe it unless there's some kind of proof to it. So how do you do that? What does that look like? Here, you just wanna make sure that people know that it works, because people wanna know that it's a safe bet. Whatever they invest their money into, depending on the type of person or people or businesses that you're wanting to work with, they wanna know that they're going to get something out of it before they get something out of it. So think about it like this. If you've ever applied to a job, or if you've been on the job market for a while now, if you're applying to a job, how do you tell the employer that you are the perfect fit just through your resume? It's the same thing, it's just a bit longer, and it's through a website. You want to talk about your experience, that social proof, the results, the outcome, the transformation that you've gotten for other people. You want to talk about, kind of include some of your skills in that, leverage your credentials a little bit, you use words in the application of whatever thing you're working off of. If you're applying for a job, you include some of those keywords or phrases in your cover letter that's from the employer's website. If you're in business with yourself and you're providing a solution or a transformation or an outcome, what are some of the pain points in the language that those people or businesses are using, and embed that in your website, in your copy. Now, hold on a minute, let's back up. That's not to say that people are going to buy because of your skills or because of your process. All of those things are meant to communicate the pain point and the solution. So for, as an example, a lot of people will have like a landing page or just like a basic website, one page or something that just kind of explains like their process, their offer, their transformation that they offer, the event happening, there's usually always some kind of like landing page where people can go for more information. But the thing is, and it's important to note, that people don't care about your process. They just care that they get the outcome that happens to be through your process. It's the same thing with your experience. It's the same thing with your skills. Like I said, people want to know that whatever they're investing in is going to get them the outcome that they want before they invest in it. You go to the grocery store, you're looking for food to buy. I like to imagine myself eating it. Am I in the mood for it? No, I don't buy it. Does that sound good? Does that sound pretty tasty? Yeah, I'll buy it. It's like you can use 10,000 examples to illustrate the same thing. What is proof? What does social proof look like? It can take on a lot of different forms, keeping in mind though that this is like the side to the entree, if you will. So this can look like testimonials. This can look like endorsements. This can look like logos. This can look like case studies, spotlights, media coverage, podcast placements, spotlights, anything like that. And they can come from a variety of sources depending on who you work with, the niche that you're in. This can come from people, businesses, and even the media. And in my mind, in case it's worth anything, the difference between a testimonial and an endorsement is that a testimonial is what someone who's already been through the process, what they have to say, versus an endorsement, which is someone who hasn't necessarily been through it, but they know you as a person and they're willing to endorse it because they trust you so much. And generally, those folks are going to have like slightly more credibility or like social power than maybe you do. They're just kind of like a couple steps ahead of where you want to be. So, someone important said this, about this program. Oh, it must be good. Like if Tony Robbins endorsed my signature offer, whoa, would that be some serious social proof? Now, you get the idea though. It's not always the reason people buy, but it's kind of a nice compliment to it. Same thing with book blurbs. Ooh, Brene Brown, Oprah Winfrey said this about this book. Oh, that's nice. Is the book any good? I don't know. I still have to decide if it's the right fit for me. So we've covered positioning, we've covered value, we've covered proof. We've already done a lot of different stuff. Now we need to kind of talk about using those pain points to inform some results-driven language, because that's what people want. They want a transformation, results, outcomes, all that stuff. So here's kind of like a little cheat code, if you will, okay? If you are a blank, what do you help other people blank? So I'm going to kind of fill in these gaps for you just so you know kind of how to gauge yourself. If you are a freelancer, what do you help other people or businesses create, build, or deliver? These are kind of verbs that are tied to the type of person or business that you are. What freelancers do might be a little bit different from what consultants do, might be a little bit different from what developers do, or something like that. I touched on that in my previous video about pricing for profit and all that stuff, so check that out if you want to get more information on that. But if you're a freelancer, what do you help other people or businesses create, build, or deliver? If you're a consultant, what do you help other people maintain, guide, accomplish, generate, or scale? If you're a developer or designer, what do you help other people optimize, implement, build, or create? So now that we have all that information, now that you've got all of those different tabs open in your brain, we need to figure out a way to make it super accessible. That's the fun part. How easy is it to find all of the information without clutter or overwhelm? This is why I say that marketing is a blend of like social emotional intelligence and psychology. It's like you've got to know what you've got, like you've got something really good, but other people don't know that what you have is good. So you need to communicate that through that language, through navigation, all that stuff. At the bare minimum, you only need to have 4 pages. You need a home page, you need an about page, you need a services page, and you need a contact page. Your home page is for clarity. Your about page is for connection. Your services page is for confirmation, confirming people's pain points and telling them what to do about it. And your contact page is for contacting. That's what you should have bare minimum. If you have that, it's a starting point and you can always build off of it. If you already have that stuff and you're feeling pretty good about it, a few other ways that you can add value are maybe creating lead magnets, creating a blog, because blogging is really good for highlighting a lot of those keywords and phrases that your people are using with their pain points and the stuff that they're Googling. Using blogs is more of just a way to get traffic to your website while providing answers or approaches or perspectives simultaneously. What about media coverage? You can include your social channels. Please include your social channels, because social media is the new business card. Regardless of what you think or feel about it, you can love it, you can hate it, you can be indifferent to it. It is the new business card. So just maybe plug those in the header or the footer or somewhere on your website. And then finally, having a newsletter. A newsletter is a really great way for people to get a better idea of who you are, what you're about, your approach, your vibe, that kind of thing, without necessarily committing. And for you, this is a really good opportunity to nurture those leads. It's just getting people familiar with you. You want them to do 3 key things: like, know, and trust you. That way they come to you. When they're ready to buy, they come to you. They know who to go to because you're in their inbox, because you're on their social media feed, and providing good quality stuff that's problem oriented. Easier said than done, but in a perfect world, that's what would happen. So think about it like this. That's a whole lot of information that we just talked about. So let me just kind of I do really well when I compare difficult things to not so difficult things. So kind of step back here for a minute with me. We're going to take all that information and compare it to a house tour. Now, I've noticed the first place people typically tend to gravitate to in a home is the kitchen. Why? Because there's usually some kind of offering there. Like, hey, we got some Coke in the fridge, we got some wine, we got tea, we got coffee, you want a snack, we've got appetizers, we've got a charcuterie board. Like, people are going to come to the kitchen to talk and eat or drink. I feel like the second place people generally tend to go is like the living area, whatever that looks like, because once they have their offering, their food, their drink, their beverage, whatever, they want a place to kind of get grounded. And usually the living room is more conducive to that. And finally, the third place that they go is maybe, hey, now that you've rested, now that you've had a drink, why don't I take you on a tour of the house? And that's where you're kind of looking at all the other like individual rooms and stuff. So think about it like that. What are you offering? That's your homepage. Was it easy to follow? Does the person know what button they need to click on to get where they need to go? And do you know how to get around? What I've heard is the mark of a good host generally is if the guest knows where to find the bathroom. So I guess in that case, that translates to the navigation. What are you offering? Was it easy to follow? Do you know how to get around? / do you know where the bathroom is? So I know that this video is already starting to go a little bit long, but I want to show you a really, really brief example of my website. I'm not saying my website is the end all be all. It's not the most perfect website out there, but it's on brand and it's what's accessible to me, and it marks a lot of these boxes. So let's kind of go over that real quick just so you can kind of see a real life example based on that information. Okay, you can ignore the little black bar at the top. That's just, I'm logged into my WordPress. So this is my website. I've just got kind of like a basic little hero message at the top. I've got some quotes here for social proof, but this is my homepage. This is kind of like the intersection, if you will. It's like a major intersection that leads to different streets. So really, the first thing that I kind of want people to do is to learn more about me. Why? Well, because there's really no button at the top. Sometimes there is, and that's a pretty good indicator. But I want people to know a little bit more about me, who I am, what I do, my approach, because if they know the person, it's sometimes a little bit easier to want to buy from that person. I've got some logos here. These are just some more notable logos that I thought kind of fit what I had. But if you scroll down a little bit more, my homepage isn't super comprehensive, but if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see that I've got a few like choose your own adventure things that people can do. They can watch my YouTube, they can work with me, they can subscribe, but that's kind of like a smaller section, whereas this one's just a little bit bigger. If I wanted to change the color of the button, I probably could, but let's just go ahead and click on learn more. There's also a join the community. There's a lot of buttons, but just like I said, my website's not perfect. So this is my about page. This is where people can learn more. I'm pretty sure this redirects to my services page. I've got a few more quotes, some social proof. What I did with these quotes is I wanted to include their title, because no one knows who these people are, but they can see what they do, or what their kind of social status is, or something like that. So I included some of that. I got some little B-roll footage here on the side. This is from a workshop I did at my local library. This button, the Learn More button, links out to my services page. This button leads to my contact page in case people want to bring me in for a workshop or something like that. So you just kind of really gradually start following the breadcrumbs. It's nothing special, but this is the last thing that's probably of value or of importance that I'll land on. This is my landing page for my services. I'm not pitching you. This is just the most accessible example that I have right now and the one that I'm most familiar with. So I've got some nice B-roll footage, but already you can kind of get a feel for my vibe. The branding is all kind of tied together. We're capitalizing on people. Well, I don't know if capitalizing is the right word, but we're highlighting people's pain points, right? You've built up your reputation. You're tired of doing your marketing. It's too much work. It's too much time. These are all the different people that we've worked with. And, here's kind of what we do to help you scale. So, all of this, here's my call to action. If you want to book a call with me, boom, it's already integrated into the calendar or into the website. Why? Because you don't have to go somewhere else. It's all in. You want it to be as convenient as possible. So, more social proof. If people want to download my little infographic PDF thing of case studies, they can do it, but they would have to opt in to get emails from me. So then they're in my ecosystem and I can start nurturing them and all that stuff. So really, that's kind of all that is to it. It's just, you're kind of just playing around with stuff. So it's nothing too crazy, but I did want to show you just, very surface level what a real life example looked like. So I know that this is a bit of a longer video, but I do want it to be insightful and helpful. So it's a lot of stuff that we're talking about. Here's some next steps just to kind of help reground you a little bit. Think about this. Could a stranger describe who you are or what you do after looking at your website for 1 minute? Number 2, is the transformation you're providing and how much you're charging for it an easy buying decision? Is it a convenient decision? Is it an easy decision? Because what you want to do is you want to do people's homework for them. You're almost kind of vetting yourself in a way, which is why you not only use that problem-focused language, but also thinking about what oppositions or what hesitations might people have, and how can I address that before they even get in the room with me, or so they're at least more likely to get into the room with me. In fact, I don't think I showed you, but on my landing page, further down toward the bottom, there's a little FAQ section. So, if people have questions or hesitations, they can see my immediate answers to those FAQs or frequently asked questions before booking a call with me. So you just want to be super, super proactive. Thirdly, does the proof match the goals and the pain points that your ideal clients are wanting or experiencing? And then finally, would a new visitor know how to engage with you in under 2 clicks? And the ultimate test, can an 8-year-old describe what you do? I mean, not necessarily based on your website, but just like in general. Like if an 8-year-old knew what you did for work, how would they describe it? Because generally the most effective language tends to be the simplest. Kind of like Occam's razor. Usually the best answer or the best approach tends to be the simplest one. Anyway, if you got something out of this and I'm like seriously speaking your language and you kind of want something a little more hands-on, a little more to kind of sink your teeth into, I'm really excited to announce that I've recently launched a community on School. I got to do a pitch. This is my call to action. It's called Sustainable Marketing, and it's meant for service-based entrepreneurs. You could be a coach, you could be a consultant, you could be a contractor, whatever. If you're just kind of wanting to simplify your marketing a little bit and get some clients and money out of it, it might just be a good place for you to hang out on. Currently, pricing is $10 or $99 a year if you want to save a little bit of cash, but it's got a course in there. We've got templates, we've got outlines, there's all kinds of stuff. So I think you'll really like it. Otherwise, if you're just not wanting to commit to something like that, feel free to subscribe if you like the stuff that I'm producing to either my YouTube channel or my newsletter. That's going to be in the description down below. But otherwise, that's all I have. Please use this information. Ask questions in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. I'll see you in the next video. Take care until then. Bye.